Welcome to Jump 316. This morning we are live on both Family Radio 316 and Family TV, where we're keeping Jesus on the airwaves. It's the financial clinic, and the nurses and some of the guys that are helping me around here, the whole Jump team are telling me to literally say what Jem says in the morning, that the bench is out there, it is already sanitized, you keep the social distance, hakuna kusukumana, mkae vizuri, and we are not giving away money, but we are giving you something that will make sure that if you ever find money and you have money in your pocket, that you will keep it. Now, this morning we are talking about the financial discipline, and what most of us have managed to do is to have discipline in every area of our lives. But when it comes to finances, we're not really sure if we have the right discipline. So the question this morning is, are you in control of your finances, or every time money comes into your hands you feel like you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this? And I have with me my guest for today. We're going to be talking about the discipline of money. My question to you is, what are some of the things that you have done to make sure, what are some of the disciplines that you have employed to make sure that your money works for you, so that your money literally goes into what it's supposed to do, and it does it for you? Because it's one of the areas that really impacts our lives, really changes our whole perspective on a lot of things. And I have with me Eric Kavinya. Bwana Eric, habari ya asubuhi.
Salama sana.
Yes.
Nashukuru. It's Eric Kavivia.
Kavivia, sorry. Yeah. So good to have you, man. You are our doctor today. We want you to help us with diagnosis of some of the issues that we are doing and some of the things that we are doing wrong with our money. We're going to be coming to you shortly. So if you have any question, you have any comment, you want to be to just contribute to this conversation, what are some of the financial disciplines that you have employed in your life? Saying something as simple as I don't do debts, that's a discipline, and it just goes a long way to help you achieve your financial goals. We're just talking about finances. We are talking everything about money, and what we are talking about today is the discipline of money. Does your finances drive you, or do you drive your finances? Is it an area that we have control over, or it's an area that we absolutely are helpless, so we release ourselves to the winds and to the waves? There's just the danger of drifting when we're not very intentional about putting the anchor in. And I have with me Eric Kavivia. He's an investment and financial consultant, and we're going to be talking to him just to find out what is this whole thing about money, and pray that after this, I was laughing to myself because the first song over here, it's Confessions, and then I'm also seeing Jesus at the Center by Israel Houghton and New Breed, and in the midst of all this, Jesus is at the center. Eric, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yeah, man, it's so good to see you.
Thank you for having me again.
Pleasure is all mine, man. Karibu sana. Sorry, go ahead.
Asante.
Okay. Phoebe from Nyeri, you're saying money cometh, money goes. that is your financial discipline, or what? Okay, sawa. All right, Eric, so let's just begin with definitions, because now some of the terms we left them in primary school when we were talking, you need to be disciplined students and things like that, and then we step into the world, nobody's watching over us, nobody's teaching us about money and finances and all these kind of things, and then now we get to hear terms like financial discipline. So just help us understand, when we talk about discipline, especially in financially, what do we mean?
Okay. Funny enough, it is true. We left definitions in class 8, Form 2, Form 3, while we were defining photosynthesis. And I'm taken back actually to high school, where our principal, our man I respect so much, he used to tell us discipline is doing the right thing at the right time, at the right place. And that is something that we have carried all along in our lives. And I always find myself, if whatever I'm doing does not fall within the 3, then there must be something not right. Those 3 must always come into play. Now, when it comes to money, it's literally using money as a resource to do the right thing that you wanted to do. Keyword is wanted to do. Secondly, do it at the right time and at the right place. that defines what financial discipline is, because there's an end game at the end of the day. There's something we want to achieve at the end of the day. And that is very, very important to note, that if you waver from that, again, discipline is also very personal.
Yeah.
You cannot tell somebody else to do it on your behalf, but you can have an accountability partner to assist you, at least to keep you in check. Because it seems like in life we tend to drift towards the person keeps us in check. We would make it to class in time because there's a bell and there's a time to be followed, and there's a teacher and there will be a punishment.
Yeah.
But now that you're out there in the world and you're doing things on your own, then there's nothing to keep you in check. But remember this, that your goals, your desires, and the fact that you will give God glory and honor by achieving. Because I tell people, don't tell me you're saved. Let me see by your work. Let me see by the things that you do, not by what you say. And in the book of James, you are reminded blessings are not said, or you don't achieve them by just saying. You can, even if you tell me how many times, Eric, be blessed, may your work, the work of your hands be blessed. If I do nothing towards it, it will remain that words.
All right.
It is in the doing, not in the knowing. So that's how I would easily define financial discipline.
All right. Eric, I love one of the things that you have said. It's that you make sure that you use your money for what you wanted to do, and you just highlighted that for us. You said there is an end game to your money. So it simply means that I have to have a plan for there to be the cause for discipline. It becomes difficult without having a plan, and just talk about that a little bit before we get on to our discussion. Yeah.
Money understands one language, by the way. And money is like fire. Money is like fire. It can be the best slave or the worst master. That's simply it. Money is like fire. Look at what steam is. My bishop normally says that when the steam engines were discovered, it was one of the most powerful engines in the world that has helped to revolutionize the world. Industries have been running on steam engine machines. And guess what? It's the same power that you get by just boiling water in your house. But if you are to cover it and just release it pole kidogo kidogo, guess what? That steam can generate a lot of power. That steam can do so much. And the money is exactly like that. It is a tool. It is a resource that equally requires tools so that you can be able to show it where it needs to go. Money will listen to you, but majority of us listen to money, and that's why we become slaves. That's why money cometh, money goeth. Like people have said, money comes and money goes. It's true, yes, but it's just because you've not yet been able to tighten the screws. So the first thing that I will discuss, and we will delve much deeper in, is a budget. A budget is a very good and simple tool for you to manage money. Why? A budget carries what we call anticipated expenses, what I intend to do. Even we normally create budgets before money comes. True or false?
True.
At family media, you have plans, then eventually the resources come. But guess what we do as Kenyans? We wait for the money to come, and then we decide. What happens? We start seeing things and desires come into play more than the needs that we had. And that is the first mistake that we normally do. So even as you go further, we will discuss about the major tool and some of the other skills I believe that people should have so that they can be able to manage money better, acquire the discipline, and stay focused in what they're supposed to achieve in life.
Sawa. Then you're talking about just discipline being, the same way that you can go to the gym and not quit on the second day, just because something is not working or your muscles are being sore and things like that. And money giving us all these kinds of options. So, just guzia hapo kidogo just before we continue.
Okay. I used to work out. I hope you can still see. It catching up though. So, and this is the one thing that I know, and majority of us have gone through this, that when you start out, we start out with a lot of enthusiasm, with a lot of psych and oomph, and say that I want to lose 20 kgs in the next 4 months or 5 months. And It's an ambitious plan. It's a good plan, and I only support the fact that you have a plan. Then what comes into play is the little things we do day by day, our activities on a daily basis. So what happens is this: when we start, the pain comes. But I believe majority of us do not quit because of the pain. Yeah. Majority of us do not quit because of the soreness in the muscles. But I'll tell you what normally happens. Things that we cannot control happen. Like what? There is rain, and I decided this month I am only jogging fast and I'm eating right. Then in between, there's a bash that I'm invited. Then I start breaking all the rules of the diet that I had planned to work on. And guess what? It is in your control. Yeah. Have you ever gone to a bash and seen someone who only went for the salad only? And that's all they had. Yeah. Yes, the variety was there. Options were there. But they still had fun like any other person. Yeah. And when time came for them to go home, they go home. Why? Because they have a bigger goal at the end of the day. There's something bigger they want to achieve that is greater than that meal. That is greater than that rain. So if it is raining, you're supposed to be jogging out there. What other options do I have? I can run in the house. How do I run in the house? Jogging on the spot is an easy one. Mountain climbers, there's so much you can be able to do. So options are there. It's only that we limit ourselves so that we have an excuse to get out of what you are supposed to do. Wow. Remember, this you're retraining your mind. It's what you're told in the book of Romans that we need not to be conformed to this world, but transform our mind by bringing down strongholds or arguments that raise themselves against the word of God. Yeah. What does that mean? The things that you had planned to do, that is what God also desires for you, because he speaks through you. So you have a clear plan, then eventually money comes, then other things rise above what is there, and those are arguments. And I call them, they make a lot of noise. And that's why on the roads, you'll always see billboards on spending, but rarely will you see billboards reminding you to save, to invest, and there's a future that is awaiting you. And those are the noises and the arguments we get. And we tend to listen and drift towards them because we are used to that. And here we are training ourselves to start doing something different. Right. So you must condition your mind and be hardwired. You have to be hardwired and even punish yourself for not being able to do what you're supposed to do.
What? Punish myself?
Yes.
My problem is saying no to myself. When it's saying no to you, or saying no to a child or somebody else about my money, yes, I'm very good at that. I will say no to you, but to say no to myself can be a bit of a problem. But that's what we're going to be looking at. How do we put the guardrails? How do we, put the boundaries to make sure that our money works for us and we don't end up getting in the cycle or in the loop of just how, we're just getting in the midst. We don't really know what we are looking at. I'm talking to Eric Kavivia. He is a investment and financial consultant, and we are talking about the discipline of money, how to just get ourselves out of that cycle and begin to make a living and literally just become what we're supposed to be. We are on the Financial Clinic talking about the discipline of money, taking control of your money and not having money take control of you. I have with me my guest. He's Eric Kavivia. He's a financial consultant and a money person. He's talking to us about what it means, where to invest. He's also a financial consultant, where to invest, where to put our money, what we need to do with our money to make sure that it is working for us. And before we went on that break, we were talking about how difficult it is to say no to ourselves. So Mr. Eric, personalities and money.
Yes, true. Personalities is it's one of the major things that actually affect how we manage money as individuals, and it informs the decisions that we make towards money. Yeah. So I would say this: all personalities are okay. None of the personalities is not good. But I'll give an example of maybe 2 or 3. Yeah. We have the main ones that are normally known. I know this study has gone further and subdivided it into many, many different categories. But I'll stick to the traditional ones, which are the 4. That is the standings, the males, the cholerics, and the flags. Now, what normally happens is this. People that are sanguines, how do they behave with money? I am one of them. I want to be very honest. I'm a sanguine. I am loud. I will tell you. In
you
a
don't
crowd
look
of
like
100,
it.
it will be easy to pick me out. It will be very easy to pick me out in a crowd. Either I'll be the one making jokes out there, but whatever I will do, I'll just make sure. You know how sanguines are.
Yes.
Extrovert. People will always want to say something outside what you would have expected. So that would be me. Now, what happens to people like me when it comes to money and financial discipline? Actually, to be very honest, sanguines are the hardest people to be disciplined. That is for sure.
Amen.
Guess what? Sanguines tend to make more money, but they feel and think that the impact that their money should have, it should be that thing that fulfills them here. You know, in their hearts, as in they feel like, if I do this and I make Benjamin happy, I can go home and sleep. They don't count the cost. They work with emotions. And
so emotional comfort in spending.
Oh my God. They even justify why they spent money.
Yeah.
While you feel guilty for buying a shoe and immediately walk out of the shop, somebody thinks like, I already have 5 pairs that are black. I might not even wear it again. You know that buyer's cognizance you get immediately buy? Sanguines will justify. They will say the black that I have, the soul does not look like this. As in they can even sell to themselves. Sanguines are the people that, in traffic, and hawkers have mastered this art. If they look at you and immediately look at them in the eye and look at what they're selling, they will come to you. Immediately they know that's a sanguine. You might not be wanting to buy, but you might end up saying, you didn't want the shades, but you eventually look at something else and you buy a Bluetooth cable, no, not a Bluetooth cable, this auxiliary cable.
Yes.
Just because it's 200 and the shades are not the quality you wanted, but you just want to buy not to let them down. So sanguines are very hard when it comes to discipline. And this is what I always tell sanguines. Get an accountability partner. Get someone to check you and start training yourself to say no. Just say no for the sake of saying no. Start training yourself. Yes. Guys invite you for lunch. Ile kawaida wanajua wenu. They know very well. There's no way Benja, you go with him for lunch and Benja Urusha, he's the guy who will always buy for us. What you do, start today by saying no. And don't give an excuse. Let me tell you the worst thing about a sanguine. A sanguine will go further and explain why they said no. Remember this, you do not owe anyone an explanation for the answer you give. You do not owe anyone an explanation for the answer you give. So if someone tells you, oh, I have this nice shoe, and they're your friend, and they tell you, just support me. You know, sometimes you buy things because I am. Reality is that you don't need the shoe. Just say, no, I don't need. Period. The shoe is nice. You know, you're tempted, but just say no. And that is the first step. The other people that I'd like to give an example of is the cholerics. Cholerics, on the other hand, these are people that are driven to results. These are just people that want to see results. They don't care who will get hurt in between. They don't. Rarely do they think about any other person, but what it is that they want to achieve. And these are the people I consider, they would not be the best engineers, but would be the best managers.
Yes.
Operations managers, where we make sure you come out here smiling and you serve that customer. I don't care what you're going through. All I want is a satisfied customer and the money comes in. So those people it tends to be a little bit easier for them to manage money. Why? Because they have an end game to it. They know what it is that they want at the end of the day. And no matter what happens in between, they must get there. If it means they get naked, swim across the river while holding the clothes up, then dress them on the other side, that's what they do. But guess what? We all have that side of us. It only depends on what it is that we want to achieve. So for some of us, it might be because I will do anything to get married. I will do anything to get that job. And yet you are a sanguine. But you will do that thing and you'll be disciplined until you achieve it. After you achieve it, then happen to tunachianga Mungu. Because again, discipline will also maintain. Remember in the words of the late Miles Monroe, because he left a lot of wisdom with us.
Yes.
And he says this, what you manage, you will keep and grow. But what you cannot manage, you will lose it. And that is the worst thing about sanguines and the best thing about cholerics. Cholerics are very good managers, but we all have an element of all this. Then finally, just talk about the melancholies. Melancholies, these are people that they are easily swayed to decisions by other people. Oh, so Benja bought this suit. Oh, it looks nice. I'd like to look like Benja. So Benja has told me to buy it. Oh, Benja is saving in the circle. Oh, that's a good thing, by the way. I mean, he saved, but but the beauty of them is that immediately they make a decision, they stick to it. They will even defend that decision, and they will stick to it, however good or bad it is. So we all have both sides of all these personalities, and it is good to realize where you fall. And I can tell you this: one of the easiest ways to know where you fall, just try and track what you do with your money once it comes into your pockets. Once it hits your account, you will know what kind of a person you are. There are those that will not even touch that money until there is a real need that will come their way. But again, if you did not have a plan, which is the next thing I would like us to discuss, then it might also be swayed by other issues. So identify the people that eat your money. I call them eaters. You know, those things that you always fall for all the time. If it is your spouse, it could be your children, it could be your parents, it could be your friends, it could be anything that normally makes you change the decision that you made. You need to start identifying them in advance so that you learn on how to say no to them, because each one has a good way of saying no. There are people you say no by giving an option. There are things you say no to by just purely saying no and refusing, because you also want to gain that act of control. Control and boundary is very important to discipline. And I'll tell you this, and this is a question I asked 2 weeks ago somewhere. I was talking to some government officials, and I asked them this: tell me of one generous, wealthy person you know in your family. Don't talk about people out there. Don't tell me Bill Gates. Tell me in your family, because I know there's someone. Tell me how generous those wealthy people are. And none of them could lift their hand. And the reason was very simple. They are disciplined. You don't even invite them for a harambe, an impromptu harambe. No, you don't. Have you ever seen those guys that you expect them, the way they drive a range, they go to a church, then the church says we need 2 seats. And those 2 seats will only cost 600, which is something they can fork out immediately. But guess what? They will walk out. Now while others are making a line there to give 5 shillings, they know they can afford, but it is not in their plan. So what will they do? They will come much later and tell pastor, and say, how far have you gone with the plan? Oh, we were able to acquire 1. Okay. Then leave the other one for me, but give me 2 months. It is within their plan. It is not because, you see, for us, we might look at him and think, oh, this guy has a lot of money. He can just easily give. Guess what? He got where he is through discipline and by still giving, because they also understand the importance of giving, but you give with a plan. Even, what do you call it, offering, you give with a plan, that which you intended to give. You don't just come, then all of a sudden, something else is said, kila saa wewe ndio kazi yako kutoa, but it always goes back to you and you wonder, by the way, why did I do that? Now I don't have fare, now I don't have this, and you end up regretting. What happens to you? You're not blessed. You didn't give out of a cheerful heart. Those simple things are what we need to look at. And that is how we start gaining that discipline. So personalities are very important. Note who you are and know how to manage yourself.
Does upbringing, especially culture, how we've been cultured around money, you know, like our subconscious, I don't know what to say it, but how we've been wired on how to spend money. The reason I'm asking is because, you know, somebody like me, I have to be very frank here. I don't know who else is like me, but I like giving. I like giving. So most of the time I will give until I have nothing left on me. But at least I give after I made sure that all my bills are paid and I've not saved. Yeah. And apart from personalities, there's just cultures. And then probably you are, like me, I'm married to somebody that has handled money before. So she's more of she's spending, you know, those kind of things, because for her it's never been the need for budgeting and things like that. At some point when I was little, what my mom used to do is she would give us the money. Like she would come to me and give me 80,000. And at that age, you're like 15 or something. Say, Benjamin, keep this for us. So any person that needed money in the house, any bill that needed to be paid, they would all come to me. So there's just these cultures and things that we keep on building. Do they also affect how we turn out to be, and does it affect our discipline with money?
Yes, it does, 100%. And thank you for bringing that up. Because of this one simple reason. Remember, habit is something, or character is built from habit.
Yeah.
Small things that we do on a daily basis. So when it comes to how we manage money, it is greatly affected by how we saw those before us doing it. Now, majority of us, and Africans to be very specific, and coming down to Kenya, we are used to kama iko. So we do things as per what we have. If nothing is there, we live as per nothing is there. And I can tell you for sure, I am lucky to have been someone like you, that my mom would come and give me money and tell me,
wow,
hey, boss, you know what? You take care of this. You do this. Literally, at a tender age, I would be the one to decide on the shopping and such things.
Wow.
Then eventually, got to a point and I realized that, this money used to be there, but my folks never used to plan. And it affected me. But for me, it affected me the opposite, 100%, 180 degrees opposite. Why? I realized that when it was there, we would live as if we are the billionaires of this world.
Yeah.
When it was not there, we would easily adjust and eat the least that was available. That was us. I'm telling you the truth. Then when eventually big expenses come and they were not timely, or we knew they would come. It's like, very well your son, your daughter is bright. They will go to a good high school. Chances are high they will still go to university.
Yeah.
Why don't you plan in advance? Why do you encourage them to continue performing well when you very well know you will not be able to support their education needs? Yet you can afford to give them everything else they want. They can dress, they can eat, and the most important thing would be that education. So with that upbringing, for me, what I did, I completely looked at it differently and decided, you know what, I'll be planning and I'll want to have a consistent lifestyle. What I mean by consistency is I can be able to eat, I can dress, I can live well, and within what I have, but at the same time, be able to save for the future. So for me, it affected me on the positive. I made a decision. I have friends, I have siblings that for them, it affected them. As in they continue living the same way. And to them, they don't see anything wrong with it. See, we are still alive.
Yeah.
Everything else is going on. So for them, there's nothing. So yes, it affects you. And that's why we need to relearn. And the beauty of learning when you're a grown-up is there's nothing wrong with learning late. The beauty of it is that you already have an experience you have built on. Either there are things you like and things you don't like. We identify them. And my work as a financial coach and advisor is to also take you through that process. Start with your history, then eventually come down to what is it that you liked about how money is managed? What is it that you didn't like? Was there discipline? Was there a lack of discipline? And if there was discipline, what is it that discipline made you lack? Because sometimes we are too disciplined to the extent that tunajinyima sana, tunajinyima mpaka kutembea. You think kujinyima ni humility. No, you don't give glory God by behaving in a certain manner. Hatiwezi nunua kiatu mpaka miaka 3 ishe because others watakuwa. We don't mean that. So we look at all these things, then we are able to come up with a plan that is specific for you.
All right.
So yes, your past will affect how you make decisions on money in the near future.
All right. Talk to us on 20316. WhatsApp on 0786316316. What are some of the money problems and the money issues that you're having that we can just ask Eric to help us with right now? Somebody's saying, good morning. The discipline of money involves planning. If possible, save before you spend. After earning a salary, like in a circle, it is you can't easily access back. Before you leave the house, plan how much you are willing to spend for the day. Leave the ATM card and ID card in the house to avoid temptation, especially if you know that you're not very good. And then Phoebe from Nyeri. Phoebe is getting the other things that are not. At your mother gave you how much umweke. Where? Surely there are levels to this thing. Yeah, she would bring money and give us Right now it's my young sister that is keeping. Please don't find her and kill her. Felix, you're saying, hello, Daktari. I've been saving to acquire capital through a SACCO. I can now access a substantial amount, but my problem is I'm unable to decide which of the investments to go for. We're going to be talking about some of the dangers and how to know that you're not financially disciplined, and some of the dangers of not being disciplined. And one of them, I think, includes debt. I'm not very sure, but Eric is here to tell us. So talk to me on 20316. That's the WhatsApp number, and 0786 316 316. I want to know how are you just going about with the money? How can we help you? How, any questions that you might have on the discipline of money and things like that. When we were on break, we were talking about just accountability and stewardship, just knowing that this money is not yours and things like that. That will help us become better managers of finances. So right now, Mr. Eric, let's talk about the dangers of not being disciplined, and also how can we build, literally, how do we build that discipline, and then the dangers of not being disciplined.
Okay. Number one, when it comes to planning and knowing how to be disciplined, or how to start disciplining yourself, because you start with yourself. The first thing I always say this is, majority of us, you're talking about money because we got it. As in there's a source of income we have, or we inherited something, or whatever it is that you do, or we have a business and it is paying us a salary. We are talking about that which we have. Yeah. Money is a resource. Remember this. Number two, remember that money requires stewardship. Yeah. Stewardship is what I call management. Management is very important. How you manage money. And like we say, whatever it is that you manage, you keep and you grow. Whatever it is that you cannot manage, you will eventually lose it. That could be your money, it could be your family, it could be that business. As long as you do not manage it well, guess what? You will lose it. So the first thing I start with, and this is a bigger word, I call it have a vision board. You must have a vision board. Write down what it is that you want in the near future. And near future could even be 50 years, depending on 30 years, 20 years. Guys, we need to start writing down and have a clear picture of where it is that I am going. Don't worry about the in-betweens. Yours is to speak to the end in mind. Steve Covey, when he speaks about the 7 habits of highly successful people, he says the first one is to have end in mind. Why am I doing this? Why am I being disciplined? Why am I saying no to this? Why should I do this? That end in mind is very important. So have a vision board that guides you in terms of where you're going. Number 2, start tracking your money. And this one, I am challenging everyone that is not currently disciplined. Write down where your money goes. And by the way, filanga free. Between sai tuko tarehe 14,
hatuna pesa, hakuna place ya kutrack.
Hatuna pesa, sai tunasikita. Now we are very good, by the way. Ingekuwa mwisho wa mwezi hapa, kuna mtu akasema, wewe unaongea, mimi ndo natengenezanga pesa, hii ni yangu. Wachana na mimi nitumie vile hata. Sai, masikio imeshika kabisa. But thank God for that. So track your money. What do I mean by this? Even if it is 10 shillings that you have spent, write that 10 and write what it is for. I always advocate for at least a month to 3 months. For people that are not very disciplined, go all the way to 3 months. For people that have at least acquired the discipline, then at least go for a month or 3 weeks. Write down, then eventually sit down and look at where your money went. And you will be shocked. And actually, when utajichapa kiboko, slap yourself, uta-click, ufanye enye mimi ndio nimejikosea. Why? You will realize that most of your money, chances are high, it goes to things that are not necessary. Now it is you now to start prioritizing and changing that priority. Because once you see where it has been going, then you will know whether it should have gone there or not. The other thing is you need to label your money. And very, very important. What do I mean by labeling your money? Work with a budget. Simple. Work with a budget. I'll tell you this. When God created heaven and earth, he named the heavens, he named the earth, he named the water, he named the mountains, but he never named the trees, the plants. He never named them, by the way. He left them upon who? The man that he would create to do it. What did Adam do? If Adam called a computer, a computer remains a computer. If today a computer was called a car, we would call it a car and it would be. You understand?
Yeah, yes.
So money is in the same. You must be able to call money by its name. And that is what we do. Tunaitanga pesa ile tabia mbaya ya soko. What is it can become anything, and that's why when you do everyone turns.
Yeah.
But if you are very specific and say Benjamin, if there are two Benjamins, say Benjamin Family Media, Benjamin will turn. That is what I mean. If you have 100,000, what is it for? 2,000 is for fare, 3,000 is entertainment, 5,000 is grooming, 10,000 is food. That's how you name it. And guess what? Rarely will you deviate from what you call it by name. That's how discipline starts.
Okay.
You must be able to do that. And maybe in future we will discuss budgeting because it's a very wide topic.
True.
And it requires a lot of practice and literally doing, not just writing and knowing this. Then eventually there's also the other point is you need to learn how to sacrifice. And this is what I mean. And this is what that normally happens to us. And Benjamin, I want you to be very honest because today you're my guinea pig. Yeah? So if you budget, and that is assuming you budget.
Yes.
Do you have something called miscellaneous emergencies, perhaps, just in case?
No.
You don't?
Yes.
Ningekuchapa kiboko kama ungekuwa nayo. Thank you very much.
Wow.
But guess what? I have so many clients who have a budget, and after they plan everything, they have something called miscellaneous emergency. You are planning for bad things to happen. And guess what are the bad things? It is the people that normally ask you for money. Funerals will come and go. By the way, funerals will come and go. Baby showers will come and go. Weddings will come and go. I'm not saying do not support, but this is what I mean. After you have been able to plan, and the keyword here is sacrifice. After you have planned and written down a list of all the expenses that you're going to spend on, the money where you're going to spend your money on, then eventually, kuna hii pesa ya grooming kwa mfano. Then you're reminded there's a cousin of yours who has a baby shower, and to be very honest, it's been a year to Jay Mwana. So you didn't even know she was expecting or they were expecting. What do you do? Because you've been invited to our WhatsApp group in 2 weeks' time and everyone is pledging 5K, 3K, 2K. What I urge you to do is this. Enda angalia kwa grooming, or look at your money for entertainment. Look at your money for food. See what you can sacrifice from what you have already planned. Then chomo up. It will be a better giving. However much you will give, it will be better to do so than to just jump in and give the 5, then eventually your family loses out. Imagine you going to tell your wife today, leo hatutakula kwa sababu kuna mtu kwa ofisi dadake alikufa na nimepeana 10,000. Picture that. You can't. So what do? We end up sacrificing the little savings we have. Tunatoa tena, then we say nilipatwa na emergency. If you ask the emergency what the emergency was, you can't even describe it because it was not literally an emergency.
Right.
It was just something that you can avoid. So you need to learn how to sacrifice and give from what you have. Never be shy. We have a group of former high school colleagues, guys that were in high school together, alumni, and I'm telling you, I tell people, don't be shy. At 250, sawa, give. That's what you have.
Yeah.
Nobody plans for these things. Give within what you have. If it is not there, wachana nayo, sema pole this time, I'll do it next time. The other thing you need to do is anticipate your expenses in advance before you earn. Right now, sahi hatuna kakitu.
Yeah.
We are good at planning. If you meet people walking in town, you can see them doing this in their planning. They are very good. So you can mwambia 10,000 takupea sahi, atakupatia all the good reasons to spend that money. But immediately the 10,000 comes into their pockets, they start running away from the ideas that they had. This is what I advocate for. When you are broke, that is the best time to write down the plan because you're very sober. Then when the money comes, now that is where the discipline will come in. You will have to follow the plan that you had written and do not sway from it unless there is something that is better than what you had seen. If you had a plan to buy a suit for 5K, for instance, just as an example, and eventually you find a similar suit for 4K, that's a bargain.
Yeah.
Spend the 4K, then the 1,000, you can push it into other expenses. Other things that you had said that will delay, now you can push the 1,000 towards that. Then finally, it's a big one. No. Just say no. By the way, start training yourself. Just say no. That is one of the easiest ways to get to gain discipline. Saying no to yourself, you know very well there are things you do that are bad.
Yeah.
Nobody knows you better than you. I'm telling you better. You know that those two things, those two bad habits you have. Start saying no to them, and you will see that you will regain control and power over yourself.
Right.
Because whatever it is that you cannot control, my friend, it becomes your master. If it is money, if it is habits, if it is, and that's why we call it an addiction. Addiction is because I have lost control to cigarette. I have lost control to drinking. So it is drinking that guides me. I must drink to be sober. I must drink to think. I must drink to survive. And that is a mistake we do. So start telling yourself no, and it is the only way to punish yourself.
All right. So now, Eric, I just have a minute with you, and I just want you to, in just like in bullet, just tell us these are the dangers of not being disciplined. Number 1, number 2, number 3. Just go ahead.
Good. Number 1, and very simple, and this is the worst: regret. Looking back and knowing that you would have done better. Yeah. I say the pain of discipline is better than the pain of regret. It is, as in you've lost it completely. Because you've lost time and you can never regain that. That's number 1. Number 2, you will live in fear. You will always be in fear. What will happen tomorrow? What happens if my child goes to university and I don't have money? What will happen? How do I navigate life after this? Thirdly, is that you need to know that time is not on your side. Time is not on your side. You need to run faster. There is nothing wrong with you starting early. I advocate this. For people that are young, when you get employment, start check-off. Be it SACCO, be it a life policy, be it a savings account, be it money market, be it a treasury bills. Start now. Be it buying shares. Make sure that something is deducted from your payslip in advance that goes towards savings and investment, so that you do not regret or always live in the fear of missing out on opportunities because you never started at the right time. Number 4, remember that we have limited resources, and the money, one of them. Then finally, you will not live a fulfilled life. You will always look back and say, I wish I did. And instead of regretting, start living. And I want to leave you with this. Finally, if today, Benjamin, and I want you to be honest, and this is to every person that is listening to us today, if we were to do an IPO, an initial public offer of a company called the Benjamin International, knowing very well how you manage money, who would buy that IPO? Would you even buy shares in your own company? That is the question we are asking. So prepare yourself in such a way, and always consider yourself as, I am Benjamin Limited. Because you, Benjamin, if you're given 100 million by family media to manage it for the rest of the year, you will not steal a coin. You will follow the budget. And if something comes that it was not in the plan, you will say, wait for this year. It was not in the plan. Then how come when it comes to your own money, anything comes, anything goes? This is what I advocate, Benjamin, finally. In a house that has 5 doors that you can enter and exit, it is hard to control security. But in a house where there's only 1 door, you will know what comes in, what goes out. That is where the discipline lies.
My friends, that is Eric Kavivia himself, financial discipline, right? The investment and financial consultant. I mean, that's a great conversation that we're having this morning. Thank you so much, Eric, for just making time for us, just coming to talk to us on finances. We really appreciate that. I was taking notes myself. I've learned so much about money, and I think I want to be even more intentional concerning that. Asante sana for the time.
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity. Be blessed.
All right. Spend a life. Have a great one.
For this and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs, from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.